Don't tell me. Don't tell me we're going to... Look at the strong Chinese contingent. How many Chinese athletes are there in this field? There's a lot. I'm just going to do a quick count.
What you're counting, let's talk about Juliette Duhaime, who won her
nine
first...
Chinese athletes in this field. Wow.
Nine. That's a strong field. Probably the largest field of athletes, the largest contingent with Spain. Spain has...
big Greek contingent too.
8. Spain has got 8 athletes. Greece has got 7 athletes in this open women division. And I was talking about Juliette Duhaime, who, as well as Seychelles, picked up her first medal in an ICF SUP World Championships. She got second yesterday. The speed freak, infinity speed freak from Argentina, Juliette Duhaime. And in third, we had in the sprint Taryn King, another bronze medal after a 2019 bronze medal in the sprints. Taryn King, the athlete from South Africa, is back at top level after 2 to 3 years hiatus. She is back in top form.
So it'll be very interesting to see how the Americans race this race, Mathieu, because there are 3 potential gold medalists there amongst the 3 American entries. Will they race together? Will they race apart? Will they work together? Because as you said, there's a strong French team, there's a strong Spanish team. We've got a couple of individuals out there who will race as well. It's going to be a really interesting battle early on as we head out towards the first buoy. Expect to see a little bit of carnage maybe when they get into the water, because everybody's trying to they don't want to get left behind, because it's a tough ask to work your way back through. So I see a couple of our athletes still just cooling down in the water. It's very hot here, so I don't think we're going to meet the 11 o'clock start time. I think we've pushed it back possibly to 10 past 11 now.
Definitely past 11, 3 minutes past 11. There are a few
I've just had the nod, so the official start time now is 10 past the hour, wherever you're watching in the world. So 10 past the hour, which is in around 6 minutes from now, we'll get this first race underway.
Well, that's plenty of time for us then to look at the entire field. There are a few names that I would like to drop. Anna Cherki from Switzerland, definitely a favorite for at the very least the top 10. She's more of a technical racer, but we saw her win a few long distance races. The Glagla race being one of them, just at the beginning of the year, down in Savoie, not far from where she lives, since she is from Switzerland. I said a few Spanish names already, but there's a big field, and Izaskun Martin is definitely one name to pinpoint. She won the SUP 11 Silito, which is not just a long distance, but an ultra long distance race. It's a 220-kilometer race on the Dutch canals, which happens annually, and she was ahead of a German athlete called Tanja Ecker. Izaskun Martin, who hasn't competed since, I believe, so she's definitely got a good preparation for long distance. Alba Alonso, more of a sprint racer, technical racer. She is also lined up on the start line. Susak Molinero is probably one of the most experienced athletes in this field, as well as Laura Ketglas, the cousin of Aaron Sanchez and a former world champion as well, Laura Ketglas from Mallorca. All these Spanish names actually could be on the podium today. We've got 2 young athletes who were juniors not too long ago. That's Sonia Keimari and Aida Napola, just to wrap up the Spanish field.
So now I think we can bring you the course. That this is the course, Mathieu, that the athletes will need to. It's 5,000 meters, so 5-kilometer course. And there's the start around the first buoy, and now this is where once you get around that second green buoy and the third buoy, that's where the moves were made in the men's race. People took different lines on the way back to the shore, and so that was the challenging part of the race for the men. We saw some different lines taken, some different tactics. The women would have been watching that race, Mathieu. They would have been studying what the leading men were doing. I wonder what they would have taken away. Of course, the wind has changed a little bit. Maybe it's different conditions now than what the men were racing this morning, but I wonder if they were watching Matthew on our live coverage or watching from the shore, what do you think they would have picked up from watching that men's race in terms of where this race can be won and lost?
Well, it sounds like a good strategy to follow is exactly what Loic Garieux did, basically. Make sure that you catch the front pack. So that is actually quite a big feat to achieve to start with. Make sure that you are at the front right away. So that requires a big push, a big sprint start at the very beginning. Make sure that you follow the leaders, and why not just wait calmly for your time to shine, following the leaders of the front pack in that in a draft train at the start. I think that's a pretty good strategy. Now, I haven't spoken to Titouan, so I don't know exactly what he saw that everyone else didn't see. Disappearing from our screens and appearing again in good position with Ludovic Tillade. But it sounds like there are a few options, especially on the way back to the beach at the end of the 5K lap. The other name I want to talk about is Holy Pie. That's the other big name
from Team GB.
On the field from Great Britain.
So the girls have now been told to move down to the water's edge. We are only a minute or so away from the start. We should mention, by the way, sitting in the background, you have the men's 40 plus and the men's 50 plus. Both waiting to go as well. We haven't even looked at the fields for those, Matthew, but we'll have a look at those a little bit later on. But all our focus now is on this elite women's race. 15 kilometres, 3 laps of 5 kilometres each. And these girls have been biding their time, ready to go. We've had the start's been delayed by just a couple of minutes. So I think there were some athletes still coming in from the previous races, so they didn't want to have any of the athletes who in their starting positions been hampered by the athletes. You can see there from that shot some of the athletes from the earlier races still finishing, but we are about to get underway for our women's long distance race.
We're 1 minute away from the start. Behind these women you can see some green bibs, and that is the 40 plus men category.
Interesting match. All the you can see all the boat brands sort of sticking together, all the starboards together there in the middle of the screen, and they're all sticking together in their teams with their sponsors. That's good to see.
You can see Sonova, NSP challenging a starboard. What else have we got in there? There's a plastic board, I think, on the very extreme right of the screen. That's the white board over there.
All right.
Unless it's a flying fish board, that could be Kim Barnes as well.
I'm expecting to see some carnage here. Look at this. They are packed in there like a jam sandwich. I expect to see some damage here. I hope we can get the drone shot for the start. Let's go to the drone shot for the start, because it's going to be pretty spectacular to watch from above.
You can see Rekta Sleta from Hungary.
Here we go.
Yonarive Esperanza
already
the best start.
My goodness, already we've seen.
It is Kim Barnes. Kim Barnes on the flying fish board right in the middle. That's Kim Barnes from the USA in front. We've got the starboard challenging her. There's another best starter on the NSP. That's Duna Gordillo from Spain. Early in the lead. She was second last year behind Esperanza Barrera. So she's going to take the lead. And
what's going on behind?
The fish board of Kim Barnes is catching that draft. A bit of chaos just behind them with Yonarive taking third place on the NSP. Someone is attacking on the right hand side. That's Esperanza Barreras from Spain.
And I think Fiona Wild nearly went into the water there. She got into a bit of a jostle there, but managed to stay on board. She's managed to get herself into a good position as well. So I think at first glance here, Matthew, all the favourites are out there in that lead group. They've all managed to get off the shore in one piece. There's a little bit of a squeeze. Oh, look at that squeeze going on behind there.
So we've got an SIC Maui board in there. I'm not sure this is Seychelles. It could be Seychelles, but it could also be Rika Okuaki from Japan. We have Esperanza Barreras now taking the lead with Duna Gordillo. So two Spaniards at the front. I think it is Rika Okuaki on the SIC Maui board there. There's a white board. I'm not sure who that is. We need to figure out who is that on the whiteboard? But in third place, it is Kim Barnes from Florida, USA.
Is that the Chinese athlete on the whiteboard there? Might be, what's the number? I'm just trying to get a number there.
Is it a 186? 186, that is Natsumi Baba. She's on the mechanical board. I did mention her name earlier. She's definitely top 5 potential. And Esperanza Barreras on the starboard after an early lead by her compatriot from Spain, Duna Gordillo. Esperanza Barreras is now taking things into her own hands.
So everything is starting to fall into place now after a madcap start with athletes going all over the place, lots of athletes being squeezed out, and just emphasising you do not want to get left behind in the rush. But now we're seeing confirmation Espi Barreras is in front. Looks like Kimberly Barnes second, Fiona Wilde third, Suzak Molinero is sitting in fourth, and we have Seychelle Webster as well, but it is quite a big group at the moment, as you would expect. We are only minutes into this race, and there's a bit of a train forming now at the front of the course.
Esperanza Barreras on the starboard, Duna Gordillo on the NSP as we're reaching the first buoy of the course. In third place, Kim Barnes from Florida, USA. In fourth place, that's the SIC Maui
now there's a bit of a traffic
Seychelles,
jam
apparently, and not Rika Okwaki. It is Natsumi Baba from Japan in fifth place, right next to Seychelles, and behind Natsumi, that is Fiona Wilde from the USA. In seventh place, we've got 2 NSB boards behind them. I think we've got Itzaskun Martin. I did mention her name. She is from Spain, and she is in the mix. I'm not sure. Yona Rive is probably the other NSB board. We'll have a better visual very soon.
So now we're starting to see a bit of normality returning to this race. We have 7 athletes in a straight line there, then a bit of a traffic jam there with 5 athletes across the course just jostling to get themselves into good position. Probably the best thing they could do now is maybe just get in a line here and make sure that they are not going to get into any trouble. They don't want to do any extra work than they need to do, because it's a long race and there's some very challenging conditions out there. So just to bide their time, Matthew, and make sure that they stay in touch with the leader, but while there's that single file of racing going on there, not too much damage can be done. So we have 7 athletes in a line, then that group of about 4 athletes racing cheek by jowl at the moment, and then a little bit of a gap opening up.
There is a big name missing in that top 10, Ross, and that is Mélanie Lafenette, to the point that I'm actually wondering if she's actually taking part in the long distance. I saw her by the pool yesterday after an intense 2-day of sprint competition, and she was tired, and she's got the world title in the technical race, so she might be focusing just on that. We'll find out in a few minutes, but I don't see the 4 to 5 pro board of the French athlete Mélanie Lafenette.
Well, the interesting takeaway from that, besides Mélanie Lafenette, is that did you have time to go and sit by the pool yesterday afternoon? Did you? After
I was even twisting by the pool.
Were you?
Yes.
Were you really? Do you have a couple of daiquiris there, celebrating your long day, your great day behind the microphone?
I see, just before a great medal ceremony, actually, and a great opening ceremony following that.
How good was the fireworks last night? How good was the singing? My goodness me, it was like if you closed your eyes, you were almost at an Adele concert.
And look at what's coming up next. Now that we've had the Open Women's race underway, we are going to focus on the 40-plus long distance men's race. Obviously, the 2 favorites, Olivier Dario-Merlou and Pierre-Alain Dubois, they were second and first last year. Pierre-Alain Dubois took everyone by surprise, another Frenchman, which literally exploded on the international scene in the 40-plus men's category last year, winning ahead of the 2021 world champion. That was Olivier Dario-Merlou, who finished second yesterday. So Olivier Dario-Merlou is used also to some international podiums under the ICF guidance. Who have we got? We've got Tim Oliver from Canada, who's having a great start. In the middle of your screen, there's an SIC Maui board. That could be Tommy Boudet right next to him, another Canadian. we've got Esperanza Barreras in the open women's race, still leading a big group of I think 15, close to 15 races, 12 maybe. Tuna Gordillo in second, still from Spain. Kim Barnes in third position. Seychelles, USA. So we've got Spain, USA at the top of the race right now. In fifth, I think we still have our Japanese athlete Natsumi Baba on the Kenny Kaneko board.
Yeah, it's and much better pictures now we're seeing for our women's race. We've got everything restored. Our apologies again for the early on some of the technical difficulties we had, but we are able to bring you these drone shots of our women out in front, and it is single file with SB Barreras in front, and good paddling there from the Americans as well. Two Spaniards.
The race course will be 2 laps. 2 laps.
All right, so Barnes, Wild. I'm not sure if these two are at the front. Actually, no, it is Esperanza Barreras and Tuna Gordillo at the front. But Kimbos is indeed in that top 3. Seychelles in 4th. Natsumi Baba in 5th. We have Fiona Wild in 6th. So 3 Americans in top 6 right now. I wonder where Yona Rive is. Also some strong long distance paddlers, probably Laura Kelglas in that top group of 12 paddlers at the front.
So as you mentioned with the men's race, there are a handful of women out there in the women's race who did not compete in the sprint. So they will be very much looking forward to having their first hit out at these World Championships. Here's your start list for the men's 50 plus, which is about to get underway. And again, look at the strong Chinese contingent, really big team here.
Yeah, we saw our friend's name from Australia, from Perth, Darren Pratt, Olivier Garriou, the father of Noik and Vaik Garriou.
Peter Vidart in there, the sprint world champion from yesterday as well.
Alistair Wright from Great Britain. There is also our friend Mark Foraster from Barcelona, Spain. That's a big field. Nick Boura, the Frenchman from
Scott
Malaysia.
Yep.
That's what
who,
the
yes,
Malaysian flags
Scott
were
Keon
for.
from New Zealand is there. Made the B final yesterday, I think it was.
Richard Proust from the Netherlands as well. Daniel Paris, of course. He is the
Forrester, as you said.
He is the defending champion. Daniel Paris, who didn't take part in the sprints just because he was
Swart is
jet-lagged.
there. He's out there in the 50 plus.
Yeah, I didn't know he was running for racing for USA.
And there's a mystery athlete there from Switzerland. No name supplied. Hello.
So Bart Desvant, first
Thomas
I
Bach.
see.
Is it Thomas Bach from Switzerland? IOC president, maybe. Wait, they're not revealing his name. It's a mystery athlete.
The ghost athlete.
Ghost athlete. Those two
We've
walks
got
can
Larry
never
Kane.
die.
We didn't say
Yep.
the name. Larry Kane is in the mix. He was on the podium yesterday, finishing
Third
yesterday, bronze medal.
Behind Vidart and Marinov, so good podium there in the 50 plus. But we're about to get underway, and then we'll cross back to the leaders with the women's competition. But let's just watch the men start here in the 50 plus. Are they doing 15Ks or 10Ks?
10K.
They're doing 10Ks.
10K
yeah.
for the 50 plus men's.
There'll be a few of the men in this field who'll be annoyed about that. Actually, they'll be saying, "Why can't we do 15?"
Yeah, some of these guys can definitely do 15K.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of them actually.
Can I just say, look at the size of this field. This is for the 50 plus. If you go back, Matthew, to our first World Championships in China back in 2019, when we had, I think, a total number of about 160 athletes. We've got close to that in each division now. It's just
we multiply that by 6 since then. That's incredible.
yeah, amazing. Okay, let's get this men's race underway. The men's 50 plus. The last of our long distance races for today. Of course, we've got the inflatable races later on this afternoon.
And in 2022, Daniel Paris was indeed the gold medalist. Peter Mühlhauser was in second place, and the Swiss Guido Donze was in third.
He's here today as well, Donze.
definitely
Yep. I saw
one
him
of
on.
the favourites for the podiums.
All right, let's get that underway. We're ready to go. The starter just holding them momentarily. I can see there's still some officials in the water on the left-hand side of the screen, so until they get out of the way, we won't be starting now. They're moving. Are they out of the way? We're ready to go in this 50 plus, and then we'll cross straight back to the women's race after the athletes get underway. Here we go.
We are ready to proceed. Many of you guys are over the line, so everybody back. In the middle, back.
There's a lot of shouting on the
There's
beach.
a lot of shouting going down there on the beach.
I will not start the race if you're over the line.
Beautiful thing about microphones is you don't need to shout to get the message across. You can actually just use a normal
point,
voice.
good point.
As I would say to my children, you can use your quiet voice if you like, because you. Oh, hello. All right, so we cross back to the women's race then while we're waiting here, because we seem to have a problem with the men's
Well,
race.
if we stick with them, I'd like to drop a few other names from Austria: Holger Hassenflug and Norbert Hodel.
Just quickly before we go back, look at that. We now have 4 athletes have snuck away in the women's race. 4 have broken away, and then a chase pack of 2. I can see Fiona Wilde there in that chase pack of 2, and then a group of 3 behind them. We're underway now.
In the 50-plus men's category, let's see who's got the best start. I see an NSP flying at the front. That is definitely El Señor Daniel Pares, the returning defending champion. Look at him flying away from his challengers on the left-hand side. That is Olivier Garriou on the son of a board. Joining him, look at Peter. Is it Peter Weidert? It could be. No, it is Peter Weidert. Peter Weidert now taking the second place behind Daniel Pares right now. Who have we got on the left-hand side who's starting well? That's a NSP board. I'm not entirely sure. Olivier Garriou now switching his course to try and regroup with Daniel Pares and Peter Weidert on the light board corp board right there. Olivier Garriou on the Sonova. So it is NSP, light board corp and Sonova at the front of the 50 plus men's race right now with Daniel Pares, Peter Weidert, and Olivier Garriou is losing a bit of a space for to the advantage of that NSP rider. Let's have his bib number. Maybe we can identify him and I wonder where Mark Forrester. That's him appearing on the extreme left of your
Coming
screen.
across now.
Mark
He's,
Forrester, who's definitely a candidate for the podium today from Barcelona, Spain, on the starboard with a blue hat.
So they are spread out at the moment. There's no single file operating here. They're just making their own lines as they head down towards the first buoy. But yes, Daniel Pares gone out as he did in last year in Gdynia, and making an early mark on this field, and he's going to be the man that they'll all be watching closely to see what his tactics are going to be. There's a couple of athletes gone into the water in the background, but I think we're going to start bringing the athletes together in just a moment, because they are still spread out quite wide on this course.
And two different trains which are shaping up. Daniel Pares leading on one side and Mark Forrester leading on the other side. I did identify that NSP board. It belongs to Ilya Netyagin from the ICF behind Olivier Garriou, not Olivier Garriou, Olivier Garriou, who is currently in third place. Mark Forrester. I think these guys are actually going to regroup as we are reaching the buoy number 1 of the course. Here it comes. Daniel Pares in the lead, Peter Weidert in second. Mark Forrester might be able to snatch that third position right now. Yes, that's exactly what he's doing. What a slow turn for Olivier Garriou there, losing a bit of space and time. And Mark Forrester is going to have to push hard to be able, if he wants to be able to catch up with the 2 men at the front. That is Daniel Pares from Spain and Peter Weidert from Germany.
So the men's 50 plus are starting to form into a line. Let's cross now back to the start of the head of the women's race, because while this start was happening, there were some very significant moves being made. We saw in the last shot there was now a breakaway group of 4. Let's cross back to the start of the women's race and see what's happening. We're just changing the batteries in the drone apparently, so we'll cross back to the women. Can we get a long shot though to get a shot of what's happening there? Because I think there was a group of 4 who had got away at the front of the group, and then a chase group of 2 for the women, and that's so. There we go, Matthew. Look at that. There is a group of 4 at the front. It still looks like it's Espy in front. Is it Espy Barreras in front?
It
is. I
is.
can see Kimberly Barnes is there as well.
Duna Gordillo in second, Kimberly Barnes in third, and still an SIC Maui board in there. I think that is Seychelles. We've got Fiona Wild and Natsumi Baba in 5 and 6 right now, and then a group of 3 paddlers who are trying to catch up with Fiona. I think that's exactly what they're doing right now, and Anna Cherki seems to be in that group along with Yona Rive and potentially a Chinese athlete that needs to be confirmed. Yeah, that needs to be confirmed. Where is Webster? Is there Lee? So I haven't seen that athlete. So apparently she's in the mix at the top of the race, but I haven't identified her yet.
So as we saw in the men's race, we saw a breakaway group of 7 early on. Here in the women's race, it looks like a breakaway group of 4. That angle is a little bit deceiving. It looks like the 2 athletes just behind are just off the tail, but in fact there's a little bit of a gap there between the front group, the front quartet, and then there's a gap back to the group of 2, and then another gap back to a group of 3. Now we're just crossing back now. I think this is the men's 50 plus by the look of things, and again they're still very spread out, Matthew, in the 50 plus. I don't know what's going on there. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the tactics here. It's just every man for himself by the look of things.
Well, apart from the chop, which is pretty clear on these images with that crosswind coming from the right hand side, there's no reason why some of these athletes shouldn't be together working as a group in order to get faster in terms of turns, potentially for the lead of the group. Oh, someone is falling down. I did recognize the NSP board of Vincent Guillaume, pretty known character in the SUP race business. He actually coaches a lot of French athletes, but also a lot of international athletes. Spends a lot of time with Daniel Pares down in Alicante in Spain. So Vincent Guillaume was in the middle of our screen just a few seconds ago. And back to the open women's race with Espe in first. Duna Gordillo, that's the first and second of last year's long distance race. Kim Barnes is the new invitee in the long distance party this year, as well as Seychelles Webster on the SIC Maui board, who picked a gold medal yesterday. So that's our top 4 so far.
It looks, Matthew, like the chase group has now gone from 2 to around 5. I think it looks like those 2 groups have come together, so that might make it a bit easier for them to work as a group to try and keep in touch with the quartet who are in front at the moment. Again, the angle is a little bit deceiving, but it certainly looks to me that chase group of 2 is now a chase group of 5. And in fact, I can confirm that because I can see there that Fiona Wild now looks like she's sitting 3rd in that group. So that group has now broadened out to be a group of 5. And are they making any ground? Well, it's hard to tell. We're going to get a bit of an idea here because we're about to go around the 3rd buoy, and that is Espe Barreras going around first, Matthew. Yes.
Esperanza Barreras on the starboard is in first position. Indeed, Duna Gordillo in second place still. Kim Barnes, the dark horse from Florida, USA, in third, and another Floridian. Miss Seychelles Webster in fourth right now. There's a bit of a gap, as you said.
It's not as big a gap as we thought, though. It looks like that Fiona Wild is leading. Look at that. She's really trying to put in some yards here and bridge that gap. She doesn't want to get left behind here because...
Ooh, there's a bit of a gap now with between Fiona and that NSP rider. Has to be Yona Rive, I think, from France.
Is it Lee from China?
Unless it's Anna Cherki.
Lee from China is up there as well. She's part of the group. I'm just trying to pick out which one she might be, but you can see Fiona Wild, maybe she's made up that gap. I think she's joined this lead pack. All of a sudden, that pack of 4, again, I warn you that it is a little bit deceiving, but I think that pack of 4 is suddenly a pack of 7. And it might soon become a pack of 8 because there are some athletes who are now coming across. But Fiona Wild has dug deep there, and in fact she's going there now. This is what we saw in the men's race, Matthew. A couple of the athletes going to the right of the screen and the rest of the field going to the left. So they're obviously reading something into this wind direction, into the course of the current, that this is going to be an area which will benefit them. But that is now a group of, let's say 10 almost. I think
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9 athletes who've passed the green buoy, and I think at the back someone who has lost a bit of ground, who was in 5th place for a while. Natsumi Baba from Japan. I think that's her going wide on the right hand side of your screen. I think that's the Japanese Natsumi Baba, but she is behind 2 groups of paddlers. The first one being led by Espe Barreras, the defending champion from Spain, from Fuerteventura, leading a group of the same group of 3 with Duna Gordillo, Kim Barnes and Seychelles.
so. They're slowly coming back together now, and we'll get a better idea of how big that front pack is, because they were spread out as they came around that buoy, but so now they're starting to come together. It looks like definitely there's more than 4 in that group now. I think the pack is at least 6 strong. Difficult to tell from this angle, but I think from what I'm seeing there, Matthew, that Fiona Wild has joined that front group, which will make everybody in that group a little bit nervous then when they look over their shoulder and suddenly see she's there breathing down their neck, because we know what she's capable of. She's been a world champion before. She didn't race in the first 2 days in the sprint. She's been saving herself up for today and the technical race. And now that she's joined that group, although she's just on the back of the group at the moment, so it looks like there's at least, I'm going to say 6 in that group, Matthew, and there's a few gone wide, so I'm not quite sure where they are in relation to everybody else.
There's definitely a group of 4 grouped together. Then there's Yona Rive with Fiona Wild behind, and between 2 big groups we've got Anna Cherky in the middle. She's wearing white. She's on an NSP board. That's her right now, just passing past Yona Rive on the right hand side of your screen, before that group of 5 paddlers on the extreme right hand side of your screen. But at the front, Esperanza Barreras is doing what she's used to doing, basically imposing her own rhythm at the front of the race.
And again, just like we did in the men, we're seeing some athletes head off in their own direction, and it caught us by surprise a little bit, Matthew. Did you steal my pen, by the way? That's my very good pen you've stolen. Just keep an eye on this bloke. He steals stuff when you're not watching. They're going off in their own direction. We got taken by surprise in the men's race when we thought we had a race in 4, suddenly become a race in 6. And the same thing is happening here in the women's race. We're seeing some athletes heading off, finding their own line, finding their own rhythm, their own direction. And as you can see, the Fiona Wild group has now gone off to the left of that front group of 4. And I think she's taken a couple of paddlers with her. So it's going to be very interesting when they come together at the bottom of this leg, as they come together towards, and now interestingly, Espi Barreras I think has spotted Fiona Wild to her right and is starting to move across to see where she is and the current that she's on. So one of these groups has chosen a good line. They're going to come together in just a moment.
Now the GPS keeps telling us that a Chinese athlete is in that mix, and that would be Fan Li, bib number 154. Now I haven't identified her yet, so maybe I've been calling the wrong name. If indeed she is at the front of the race, I don't know much about that athlete. I think this is the first time we see that name in these past 3 days. I'm pretty sure it's Espe right in the middle of your screen from Spain, the defending champion. leading that group of 4.
So,
On the right-hand side, I think it is Anna Cherki from Switzerland on the NSP board. On the left-hand side, it is definitely Yona Rivet with Fiona White. Now, where I'm having doubts is we have 2 SIC Maui board, one in that group of 4, and
who's that in the middle?
SIC Maui board?
Somebody coming across in the middle there.
It looks like it is Seychelles. So Seychelles could be on the left-hand side, and it could be at the not Seychelles, but Fang Li potentially closing that group of 4. She did look a bit short. I called Rika Okwaki earlier on. It could be Fang Li on an SIC Maui board. We're going to need a visual confirmation of that, but it looks like on the left-hand side that SIC Maui board, that tall figure, belongs to the new Sprint World Champion, Seychelles.
Yep. So very hard at this stage to get an idea. We just saw in the GPS tracking telling us that, here we go, and according to that, we have Barreras and Gordilla in front, Barnes. Well, I'm not sure that's... it's very hard to tell, though, with the different lines that they're taking. It says here that Fiona Wild's group is 50 metres behind. Let's see when they come together whether that's true, but it certainly looks to the naked eye that as they come together now, we're going to get a bit of an idea now, Matthew, of how big this lead pack is.
And for some reason, Fang Li has disappeared out of our top 8 paddlers on the GPS. So I'm a little bit confused there, but I'm sure we're going to make some senses of this race, as we're going to have some shots at on the last buoy of the course. Definitely at the front, though, our top 3 are Esperanza Valderas, Duna Gordillo, and Kim Barnes. I'm not entirely 100% on the 4th athlete, since we have another SIC Maui board with a taller figure, and that could be Seychelles.
So 60 metres we're now told, and that looks about right between SB Barreras at the front of the field and the chase pack, which has been led by Fiona Wild. So about 55 metres now between those 2 groups. So the decision by Fiona Wild and who's that paddling with Fiona Wild?
Yona Rivet from France.
Yep. So their decision to go out alone to the left of the course from where we're sitting hasn't made any big impact for them. They've still got some work to do to try and bridge this gap on this top 4 paddlers. And SB Barreras has been out in front. The 2 Spaniards, a bit like we had in the men's race when we had 2 Japanese paddlers out in front. Here we have the 2 Spaniards out in front. Kimberly Barnes in the long white sleeve top is sitting 3rd.
You know what, Ross? I did call Rika Okwaki earlier on, and I might have been right. I think I see a 187 on that bib, and if that's the case, we have indeed a Japanese in our top 4. And not Seychelles, who is in the top 10. But
I think we've got a significant. I think we've got a significant withdrawal happening here. Have we on the? I can just see a couple of one of the paddlers heading towards the shore. Maybe I'm not sure what's happening there. Or she's just trying to get a different line, but she's left Fiona Wild to her own devices. So that was.
Yeah, on the right-hand side, we've got Anna Cherki with now Yona Rivet. So Fiona and
Fiona Rivet, I thought she looked to me like she was withdrawing, but she just slowed down and she's joining the 3rd group, which means Fiona Wild is now paddling on her own and trying to bridge that gap between herself and the lead pack. If we can get, I'd be interested to get a
interesting line choice by Fiona Wild on the left-hand side,
yeah,
being pushed by the wind. So she might, and that's exactly what Esperanza Valderas is now doing, but only 30 meters after Fiona Wild decided to do so. So Fiona Wild making a strategic move that could pay. We'll see in a few minutes if that is actually paying. On the right-hand side,
the gap has gone down from 55 meters to 40 meters. So Fiona Wild is making a bit of a charge here, trying to get in touch with that group of 4, but she's having to do it by herself. She's out there by herself now. Rivet, who was with her, dropped back and joined the 3rd pack, leaving the American to herself. She's still out there on the left-hand side of the screen.
Well, Fiona Wild is definitely friend with the wind, former windsurfer and most definitely the best downwinder in the world. Practicing every day pretty much in Hood River, Oregon. Fiona Wiles knows what to do with the bumps, and it looks like she spotted a few of them, and that is definitely serving to her purpose right now as she's closing the gap with that group of 4, but on a different line. We'll see in a few moments at when we have a drone shot of the last buoy of the course and the first buoy of lap number 2, if that has indeed paid off. Yona Rive went with Anna Turkey and Seychelles on another line. Let's identify that 4th place. I see a 7. I see an 8. I think we've got Rika Okwaki, ladies and gentlemen, from Japan in our top 4. I don't know why the GPS didn't say it.
Not all the athletes have the GPS on. Some of the athletes might have lost their GPS early on, but
so Seychelles is 216, so that's definitely not a 216. We've got Rika Okwaki in our top 4.
So now we're
Japan.
getting to see Wild coming across there. Her tactic now, what a great shot that is from the drone. So yes, the distance quite significant now, and that would be heartbreaking for Fiona Wild. She took her own line there, and she'd look up and she'd see she's still got more work to do to get across to this top 4 who have been there since almost the start, since the first buoy really. And Espi Barreras has led from the get-go. Her Spanish teammate Dona Gordilla has just sat behind her for the entire race so far, as has Kimberly Barnes in 3rd spot. And you're pretty confident who that 4th paddler is?
Yeah, it looks like it is Rika Okwaki. The 2 last number of our bib do match the 187 that I can see on my start list, and it's the first person I called for at the very start of the race. So I'm going with my guts. It is Rika Okwaki in 4th place right now. So we've got USA, Spain, USA, and Japan at the top of the race right now, with another American, Fiona Wild, chasing in no woman's land.
No woman's land. Look
between another group between the front group of 4 and another group of 3, with Yona Rive, Anna Turkey, and Seychelles in closing that group of 3. And we've got, I believe we have Suzak Molinero in a 4th group of 2 paddlers at the back. I'm not, and Natsumi Baba, the other Japanese. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our top 10, ladies and gentlemen. A few Americans, a few Japanese, and a few Spaniards, a few French, or 1 French, and from Switzerland, Anna Czech.
Yep. So we go around. We're heading towards the end of the first lap, and at the moment it is a race in 4 with this quartet. They've been out there pretty well by themselves for most of the first lap. And then a bit of a gap, quite a big gap actually, between this group of 4 and Fiona Wild, who is by herself. There she is, trying to bridge the gap. How much energy will she need to expend, though, to try and get up on the tail of that group of 4? She'll just be hoping that at some stage they might take a bit of a breather. And but Espi Pereiras is a very experienced paddler, and she will know where Fiona Wild is right now, and will be very happy just to keep her at arm's length, at a distance between herself, this top 4, and the former world champion Fiona Wild. But there's a long way to go, Matthew. We are only in the first lap, and there's going to be a lot happen between here as we go around now. This is the end of the first lap, and looks like everyone's going to get around safely. A couple of tricky moves there from Dona Gordilla, but happy to sit there in 2nd. Kimberly Barnes around in 3rd.
Rika Okwaki in 4th on the SIC Maui board. Fiona Wild on the starboard in 5th place right now. And the Seychelles has taken the lead of that group of 3 chasing Fiona, with along with Yona Rive. Look at Duna Gordio looking over her shoulder, just to identify it in a 90-degree angle where the chasers are. Actually, with Anna Turkey going with Seychelles and Yona Rive in a tough spot right now. She's just lost the draft train led by Seychelles, so she is now sitting 10 meters behind Anna Turkey and Seychelles, who are 50 meters behind Fiona White. And then there's that group of 2 SUP racers, Natsumi Baba on the mechanical board with Susak Molinero from Spain in 10th place on the Sonora board.
So of this group of 4, the front 2, of course, the 2 Spaniards both did the sprint. You have Kimberly Barnes, who missed yesterday because she had to go to Bangkok to pick up her board through customs. So she will be relatively fresh compared to our 2 leaders.
And Kim Barnes in there in 3rd position from Florida on the flying fish board. Has been really waiting for a time to shine, and this is definitely some great exposure for the Floridian, who did win the Carolina Cup earlier this year back in April, an ICF SUP World Ranking event, by the way, and she won ahead of Candice Appleby and Duna Gordio precisely, so these 2 know each other. Seychelles was in the mix, but she was only getting back into the international competition. Seychelles did also a few regional races down in Florida or further up on the East Coast. And as I said earlier, yesterday, something clicked back in the summer, and for Seychelles, who decided to go for it, just like in the good old days when she was winning some top international races.
So our GPS tracking is telling us there's now around 70 meters between Espi Barreras and Fiona Wild, and then another 100 meters or so back to the next group led by Turkey, of course, and there's a couple of others, Rivette in there as well, but they are starting to fall off the pace. They're leaving a big gap now between themselves and this lead group of 4. You would think the only paddler who could get across there would be Fiona Wild, but now she's starting to fall off the pace as well, which means that again, Matthew, we've got that horrible situation where we have 4 athletes competing for 3 medals, and it's going to be a heartbreak situation, but we have got a long way to go. We are only on the 2nd lap. It's a 3-lap race, and a lot can change, a lot can happen in different stages of this race.
Well, if we follow what happened in the men's with Noe Gayu sitting comfortably, I said that quite lightheartedly, comfortably in 3rd position behind the 2 Japanese earlier on. We have 2 Spaniards in this women's race in the lead, with now Duna Gordio taking the lead over Esperanza Barreras. And we have Kim Barnes, who's been in 3rd place the whole time. Actually, Duna Gordio now placing a bit of an acceleration, which leaves a little bit Rika Okwaki, the Japanese, behind. She manages, though, to catch up with the train, to be back on the train. So it is now a change of leader for that group of 4 paddlers, and that is Duna Gordio from Spain. In 2nd place, Esperanza Barreras. Kim Barnes is might be playing it just as cleverly as Noe Gayu early on, as well as Rika Okwaki.
Well, I asked Noe Guru whether that was his tactic, whether he was just happy throughout the race to sit behind the 2 Japanese. He said it was no tactic, he was just trying to hang on. He said they were going so hard and so fast, he was just trying to hang on for dear life to not lose touch with them, so he wasn't planning to sit there behind them. He just wanted to make sure they didn't leave him behind, and in the end backing his sprint credentials over theirs, and showing that if you're fast over the water in that last sprint, if you've got a bit of petrol left in the tank, then you're going to have the advantage. But this group of 4 are looking very, very strong at the moment. We have had a change in the leadership. It is Gordillo from Spain now moving across, giving Barreras a little bit of a breather. Maybe this was her choice. She decided she's had enough now at the front. She's had enough of punching the breeze and wants somebody else to take over for a little while. Kimberly Barnes being clever there, just sitting behind the lead 2, trying to get a bit of a a wind tunnel effect there, trying to get in the slipstream, so that as you can see from those flags there on the buoy, so they are at the moment paddling into the breeze. You just saw the flags on that buoy, so this is a difficult leg for them, paddling into this breeze, and you can understand now why Kimberly Barnes is quite happy to sit back there in third position and just let the two Spaniards cop the brunt of the breeze. And this gives you an idea. Kimberly Barnes is not the leader, but she is in that lead pack, and it's around 80 metres now. So Fiona Wild falling further back in that from that lead group of four.
Well, you were asking whether or not the women's had learned anything from watching the men's race, and that's exactly what you were saying. Esperanza Barreras decided to step down a little, giving so much energy away, putting a group of four paddlers, and she gladly let another Spaniard, Duna Gordillo, take the lead. And I have to say I'm impressed with Kim Barnes and Rika Okwaki. We haven't seen Rika that much on the international scene. She's in good position there for a potential podium. Obviously, some action is going to, and sprinting action is going to unfold at some point, whether during the race or at the finish line, just like for the men's. But right now, it's two strong women at the front.
Yep, it's a tough race. We're not even at the halfway stage yet of this women's long distance final. But judging by how comfortable this quartet look at the front, that they are going to be the ones who are going to be there at the finish. Possibly at the back of the field, the Japanese paddler. She's been there at the back of this quartet throughout, so just happy to bide her time. Maybe she learned a little bit from watching her two Japanese colleagues in the men's race, who both went out and almost cut each other's throats at the front of the field, and just left it wide open for Nui Guru to come through and win his first long distance title. So in this race, it's the two Spaniards out, but they seem to be working much better together, not trying to push each other, just taking it in turns at the front of the course. Gordillo now in front. Looks like Espi Barreras just taking a little bit of a different line now, maybe moving a little bit wide to go around and maybe resume in the lead. A bit hard to tell from this angle. And Kimberly Barnes just holding off back there in third spot.
And when we reach the next buoy, that will be exactly half of the race. So let's have a look at the time right then, because we will be able to guess of the finishing time for these women, for these top women. It'd be great to have an indication of the gap actually with the chasing group, if that's whether or not that gap is actually extending, as Duna Gordillo is now in the lead, and it looks like she has definitely accelerated the pace, with Rika Okwaki struggling a little bit to stay in the train. Now she is comfortably in fourth place. So she's
somebody's had a fall up the front there. We can see gone in the water. It is challenging conditions though, so especially when you get that breeze as a cross breeze, it can be very difficult to stay on your line. But this group of four, Matthew, they have really put a bit of distance between themselves and the rest of the field. We can't even see Fiona Wild. Now, is that the 40 plus or the 50 plus men in front of us? It looks like
it's a mix. It's a mix actually.
Yeah.
You have the open women, the 40 plus in green, and the 50 plus men in red. So it's a mix of paddlers. We don't have any indication of who is in the lead in the two other categories racing right now, the 40 plus men and the 50 plus men. The 40 plus are going for a 15k long distance race, whereas the 50 plus men are completing a 10k course. I would expect Daniel Pares, who's well rested, who took the lead early, to be winning yet another gold medal here in Pattaya. That would be his first gold medal. But Peter Weidert, who won the who won the sprints yesterday. His third gold medal in the sprints in an ICF SUP World Championship. Was well positioned in second place, only 300 meters after the start of the race.
So our lead quartet are still doing it nicely out in front. No real challenge there for them. They have put some distance between themselves and the rest of the field. It is Dana Gordilla now in the lead from Spain. Her Spanish teammate Espi Barreras is sitting second. Kimberly Barnes with the long white sleeve, there she is third. They've formed the train again now, and sitting in fourth position
Rika Okua
of Japan. So just sitting off the back there of that group of four. So well spotted, Matthew, because that was a tricky one, which she's not got a GPS on her, so we've got no idea exactly what her stroke rate is, or no confirmation by the GPS that she's there, but that is her, identified by the man behind Total SUP, Mr. Mathieu Astier, who's been in very good form this week, folks. I've given him 3 votes on both days so far, best on ground, on Wednesday and Thursday, and so far definitely a best on ground performance today, Mathieu. I think your afternoon swim yesterday and your massage the day before has worked well with you. It's freed up your mind. You've got loose body, firm mind, which is a good approach to bring to the commentary position.
Stepping up my game every day.
You certainly are, man.
Thai things to try.
Yeah, yep. You've gone out. I know you've been trying a few of the local cuisine. Have you come across anything you particularly liked?
Everything. I love Thai food.
Yeah.
I love Thai food.
Do you like the spicy food or not?
Yeah, for sure. This is actually something that you can specify when you order food in Thailand. You tell how many pimientos, how many peppers that you want. Usually you go for, if you're clever, you go for half of one or just one. If you go for 2 or 3, I mean, you could end up in hospital.
Well, yeah, I lived in Bangkok for a year and a half, and I got very used to the spicy food. In fact, it's always a bit of a laugh because in Australia, when you go out to have Thai food there, if you're not used to Thai food, if you're not used to the real spiciness of Thai food, it can be a bit of a shock. But I love the spices, and I'm always going for a 2. I always ask for a 2. Yeah, I'm
impressed.
I'm a big fan,
You're
man.
the man.
Well, that's why I look a lot older than I am. I think too much. Too much. Hot spicy food is making my face burn off, and I think it's aged me about 10 years, maybe even 15 years. So, but
that was a sunburn.
yeah, but there are some really interesting eateries along the beachfront here. I don't know how far you've got out and about, whether you've got past your favourite massage parlour, which you've already located very early on in the piece, Matthew. You're like a homing pigeon. A homing pigeon when it comes to your favourite eateries and your favourite massage places. But they do give very good Thai massages here, and pretty good value for money.
Yeah, everything is easy and pretty cheap in Thailand. It is an amazing destination if you want to go on a holiday. Obviously, you can go to the very crowded touristy areas, but there are plenty of places where you won't find a single a foreign soul, and that is actually what I enjoy most.
And it's a cliche. It is a cliche to say that the Thai people are very, very friendly and very, but they are. They really, really are. I mean, nothing is too much trouble. They're always making sure that you're happy, that you are getting what you need. The service has been fantastic, and the staff, the volunteers working here at our World Championships. I mean, we were talking at the sprint competition with the start buoy there out in the middle of the water, and Matthew and I were sitting in the shade in a commentary box, and we were saying how hot it was. Those folk were sitting out there on the start buoy, and it was scorching, and they sat out there all day and did their job, and it was absolutely fantastic. Now look at this drone shot now, Matthew. It's giving us a pretty good idea of the gap between this front 4 group. We can't even see the chase pack, whether Fiona Wild is still by herself or whether she's dropped back and joined the other 3 paddlers who are just behind her. We'll get a bit of an idea when we go around the buoy. You can see at the top of your screen, which will be the halfway mark, Matthew, of this race, and then we'll get a bit of an idea how big the group is behind and how far behind they are. But this quartet in front, they're doing it to the beat of their own drum at the moment. and they're going to take a lot of running down if anybody else wants to try and get in there in a mix for the medals.
Yeah, and as we've seen on those beautiful drone shots, the pace imposed by Duna Gordio is definitely harming the rest of the field with that gap extending between that group of four and the chase. In fact, we don't know who is in the chase now, because these athletes, these top four athletes, are being at the front for so long and extending their lead clearly. So I wonder where Fiona Wild, Yona Rive, Anna Cherky, Seychelles, Suzak Molinero, Natsumi Baba are. These were our top 10 athletes a few minutes ago. Hopefully we will have an indication of that very soon with perhaps a different camera angle, unless that drone can actually see what's happening south of that quartet in the lead.
And now we can get an idea. So it's now 150 meters between the front group and the chase group, and looks like Seychelles Webster is there maybe at the front of that chase group, trying to make up a bit of ground. Maybe she's now decided at the halfway stage, because that would be a good time to make your move. Maybe she's decided that now is the time to try and get across and bridge that gap. I think if you're going to do it, Matthew, coming downwind is the time to do it, because if you can get a good line, you can actually pick up a bit of time and a bit of ground. But wow, it's a big gap to make up though, 150 meters.
I mean, calling it downwind would be a little bit far-fetched.
I think so, yeah.
You can see the cross swell coming from the right-hand side of your screen. Obviously, they're going to be angled further to the bottom right of your screen, so they could benefit definitely from a bit of bumps. What I was going to say, the Duna Gordillo still in the lead, reaching now the half mark of the race, definitely imposing a good rhythm ahead of Espe. Kim Barnes in third place still, Rika Okuaki. So Spain, USA and Japan still in our top four. Someone's going to have to make a move soon.
Yeah, they're all going out wide now. You can see they've gone around the buoy at the front and trying to get an idea here of that chase group. They are this angle is a bit hard to tell, but they're quite a distance between them, and they're going very wide now, the girls, and they're following Gordilla. Gordilla's going wide, Barrera's just sitting on her back, and also Kimberly Barnes. And the chase group have still not gone around the buoy at the top of the course, so that is the distance, quite a big distance.
It's coming, so if we could have at least that green buoy in our frame, that would be amazing. I might be able to identify who's leading that chasing group of a crowded group. I think 4 or 5 women athletes, pretty far now from Rika Okuaki, who's currently sitting in fourth. If we could turn that camera to the left, that would be amazing. We would be able to see who's now reaching the buoy. I had an interesting quick chat with Seychelles just before the race.
She said, "Don't talk to me, I'm in the zone, I'm trying to focus, get away from me, you crazy French man." And then after that she said,
and after that she said, "Go get me some water."
She said, "Stop." She said, "You problem with you Frenchman, you talk too much. Go get me some water and maybe a hat and an umbrella, and could you just stand there and keep me cool, please?" And then you said,
and then I said, "Wow, you're actually focusing on the long distance. I'm very surprised after winning the sprints. I was expecting her to focus after a win yesterday in the sprints on the technical race." She said, "You know what? In the long distance, at least I'm on my own. You know, it's the type of race where you what you do is controlled by you. It's not in the technical race. Anything can happen because there's so much chaos around you, especially obviously at the buoy turns. So that's a pretty good indication of a Seychelles state of mind. You know, when she controls things, just like she was feeling throughout the first 2 days of the sprint competition, she was in total control. She was feeling strong. She knew exactly what to do and when to do it, and she had that very ultra comprehensive win of the sprint women's competition.
So the GPS tracker is telling us that there is now 150 meters between the front group and the chase group, although now down to 120 metres. So that's the gap between the front group and the chase group. It's still a significant gap, as the front group now, as Matthew said, it's a bit cheeky to call it a downwind, but certainly they've got a chance here to put a bit of distance between themselves, a bit more distance between themselves and the rest of the field. But they're all just happy now to sit behind Dona Godilla. When you're in front, Matthew, I suppose you can choose the line, and if everybody else wants to go with you, then well and good. Now, is that...
Ross, have we got a change at the front? Is it Esperanza Barenas back?
Just be careful with that angle. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure with that angle. We've been caught out a couple of times already with the distance. And there's our friend, the fisherman, just sitting there. He's put a shirt on now. He heard us before. I said that it's all well and good to sit out there and try and catch fish in the middle of a World Championship field, but he's sitting there. Put your hand up, mate. Have you caught anything today? What are you catching? Oh, he's got some snapper apparently or something.
Right, so we do have a visual on who's at the back, and that is Anna Cherky leading over two Americans, Seychelles and Fiona Wild. So that's a group of three, and then there's another group of three on the left hand side of your screen. I think that is Natsumi Baba from Japan with Yona Rive.
Yona Rive's really fallen back through the field, hasn't she? She's,
and Suzak Molinero on the Sonova.
Who's caught up to... somebody's gone in the water. That's not part of the lead group, is it?
Four,
no.
A group of three, and then a group of three, so that's 10. That's 10, so still our top 10 women. Oh no! Holly Pie. I'm very disappointed by that for her, obviously. Holly Pie had to leave. I mean, she admitted she wasn't feeling that great. Might have suffered from food poisoning. We're talking about food, hopefully.
Well, I went for my first swim of the morning this morning, and I'm still okay. So I can safely report that the ocean is okay if you keep your mouth shut. Don't swallow too much of the ocean. So wherever you're watching around the world, we are very happy to have you as part of our team today, as part of our stand-up paddling family, global family. We do apologise. We've had some technical issues with some of the cameras, etc. But we are doing our best to bring you what we can from this race. There is a group of 4 in front, and then a chase group which includes the Swiss paddler Shirky, Webster and Wild, so 2 Americans in there. And they have now, although it looks like as Fiona Wild drops back even further, we'll get some idea in just a moment of maybe we're seeing a move being made here by, I said it before, by Seychelles Webster. Maybe she's starting to try and bridge that gap.
We are being asked by one of the our followers on the chat to if we could provide some indication as to where the 40 plus men are. We can't, unfortunately. They're not wearing a GPS tracker, so we can't have that. So unfortunately we'll have to wait until the end of the race to actually call the shots for the podium. We were able to show the start of the plus 40 men's race though. Hopefully before the end of the race we will have some views and we'll be able to guess at least who's leading. But I did spot a very good start by 2 Canadians. That was Tim Oliver and on starboard, and Tommy Woodey on SIC Maui. That's the only indication I have so far, unfortunately.
So a couple of people just asking for updates. We can't give you an update just yet, but we have got our man down on the beach there, and if we get an indication that the 50 plus men are coming to a finish, then we will let you know. But I don't think they haven't gone past the front group of women here, so there's no way they've finished 2 laps yet. There's no way they've finished 2 laps, so no worries about that. They'll be a bit off yet crossing the finish line. The elite women were the first paddlers on the course, then the 50 plus, and then the 40 plus. They are on their last lap though, the 50 plus men. When they get towards the finish, we'll try and cross down and capture that action, bring you the leader. But we are focusing on the elite women, just like we focused on the elite men this morning. We're focusing on the elite women. That is our main goal here, to keep an eye on our top women and how they're going. We did the same thing for the men earlier this morning. Of course, we do know there are other races underway, but we just feel that we need to keep an eye on what is happening with our elite athletes in both the men and the women. So there's the distance between Espe Barreras and Anna Turkey, who is leading the chase back. It's 160 metres, which is pretty considerable. They're now just coming up to our fisherman, who's just sitting there having a good old time. What sort of a line's he using? I'm not quite sure. Maybe he's just got a hand line going in there, but doesn't he look very relaxed there on his fishing pontoon, sitting there enjoying the best seat in the house, Matthew. That's where you should be, commentating out there. That should be what you're sitting on, my friend. You should be sitting out there giving us a bird's eye view.
That's what I asked for.
Or an albatross view, sitting on the water, watching the paddlers go past. Is he going to give him a wave? Just give him a wave, mate. Give him a bit of encouragement. Let them know that you're there for them, giving them some support. No acknowledgement at all. None at all. He's just sitting there. Oh, there we go. There you go. He's lifted his arm up. Hello, how are you, folks? Good. Stop scaring my fish. Sorry. I'm trying to win a world title here. So who's in front now? It looks like
it is Espe. Espe still at the front, and
well, still Gordilla was in front there for a little bit, so it's been a change.
I'm pondering whether or not it's the right thing to do. Just like Shuri Araki, who is capable of leading and then attacking and then extending his lead, and all of a sudden being on his own in the lead, maybe for the last 5 or even 10 kilometers of a long distance race. Esperanza Barreras, we know she's capable of doing that, but today, just like Shuri, she's not doing it. Is that because of the heat? Is that because of the condition? Is that because the level of paddling of the challengers is very high? It's the big question I have. Maybe being in front in this race today is not the in a train of paddlers might not be the best thing to do. Someone is having a bit more of a stroll. Actually, 2 athletes, and that is Kim Barnes.
I asked you about this for the men, for the men's race, Matthew. If you were the Spaniards in front, would you be starting to get a little bit peeved off with the 2 athletes at the back, that they're just sitting there and not doing any work? Would you? I mean, I know in cycling they can get very, very angry if you just sit behind and let everyone else do the hard work. Is it the same for a distance race in stand-up paddling?
I mean, it's a mental game, and losing your nerves, being angry, could actually cost you some play. So you have to keep a cold mind. So you have to depend on what you do yourself, and not so much on what the ethics of every individual athletes are. I'm not saying that staying in 3rd or 4th place and not taking the lead is unethical. It's definitely part of the game. It's part of the strategy. I mean, Espe could just stop paddling and see what happens, but she would risk some strong finishers like Anna Turkey, Seychelles, the sprint world champion, and Fiona Wild to catch up with them, and all of a sudden you would have a group of 7 paddlers at the front and not 4 anymore. So if Espe is feeling good, I think she should do what she does usually, basically accelerate all of a sudden and try and break the field, or just give up and say, look, it's your turn, for you. It's for you to lead now. I'm tired of being at the front, and I'm going to sit in 4th.
So just trying to get a look behind. I think I saw, was it the 40 plus men behind? But nobody's gone past this front group yet. So there's been no chance yet that the 50 plus are getting near the finish line just yet, because the women are just coming down now to complete a 2nd lap. And the 50 plus men are also they're just doing 2 laps, but I haven't seen them come anywhere near the front group yet. So they've still got a little bit of distance to go. We will bring you, though, if once the men get towards the finish line, we'll bring you the finish of the 50 plus and the 40 plus men's races. But at the moment, it's the front quartet for the women's race. They've been there for most of this race, and it's been the two Spaniards in front, followed by the American and the Japanese paddler, who's been quite happy just to sit there at the back of this quartet. She's done no work in terms of leading the race, and just happy to sit back there and let everybody else. Kimberly Barnes the same. She has not led this pack at all, just sitting back, letting everyone else, let the two Spaniards do the work, keep a little bit of petrol in the tank for the final lap. And the question is, though, when do you make your move? When do you make your move if you want to try and blow this apart? Do you keep it for a sprint at the end? If it does come down to a sprint at the end, Matthew, would it be Espy that you, or Dana Gordilla? I mean, Gordilla's been very fast. She was fast yesterday. Would she be the sprinter that you'd back out of this quartet?
Duna Gordillo, definitely a very strong finisher. I don't know much about Kim Barnes as a sprint finisher. She obviously won her heat, so let's not rule her out as a sprint finisher. Kim Barnes, who is in her 40s. I would expect, though, someone to make a move. I think Espe, just like I expected that to happen from Shuri, and it did happen at the very start of entering lap number 3. Shuri Araki placed an acceleration, tested his challengers, and that wasn't successful. So let's see if Espe or Duna try to do that right before or right after one of the two buoys coming up, the one that finishes the course and the one that starts the new one. So one more lap to go, and
just on our message, thank you, Jenny. Jenny says, regarding leading a draft, she says some athletes prefer to sit in the top 2 to set the pace and not fall back, because if somebody falls off the pace, 3rd and 4th isn't safe if someone in front of you falls off. And you don't want to, you can get stuck behind, so sometimes it's worth pushing and staying in the top 2 spots. Jenny also reminds us that in 2022, Espe led the whole race, but Duna overtook her in the final meters. So
that was in 2022,
yeah.
A big international race, of course. And you know what, Jenny K, I wonder if that's Jenny Comeback from Puerto Rico. Jenny, can you confirm you are that person? Seem to know a lot about SUP racing.
Why aren't you out there paddling, Jenny?
Good question.
Should be
Good
here.
question.
Make sure you're there in Florida.
Life choices. Jenny Comeback.
Make sure you're there in Florida
also
next
a mom
year.
And busy. Is it Puerto Rico? Might be Costa Rica actually. Jenny Comeback. Anyway, we might have a confirmation of that very soon.
So feel free to drop us a message if there's anything you want to say, any questions you've got to ask about stand-up paddle racing or about Thailand. Matthew is he's also a walking travel guidebook for Pattaya especially. He can tell you all the ins and outs, and the good places to hang out and the not so good places to hang out in Pattaya, because I'm sure you've unearthed a couple of those as well, a couple of the places where you probably don't want to be spending too much time. Now, here we go around.
Oh, Duna. That was pretty sharp.
Oh, look at that. A little bit of a boat clash there.
Picking up the pace a little, I have the feeling Esperanza Barreras, Duna Gordillo, Kim Barnes, and Erika Okwaki is going to try and catch that train.
Jenny's giving you the thumbs up, Matthew. You have correctly identified her. You've exposed her on international broadcasting.
I did, and I have to send my apologies to Jenny. I said following a big event last year that I would interview her, and I got so...
I don't think you need to apologise. I think she's probably happy.
Under work and events.
I think she's
never
probably...
reached out to her to ask some questions, but I have to publicly acknowledge that I'm a big fan of Jenny Comeback, and I was very, very happy to see her back in at an international race last year.
Now, are we seeing a move here? Is the Japanese paddler is just starting to maybe struggle a little bit, Matthew? Or no, she's got back on now, but I think she might be starting to feel the pinch a little bit. We are into the final lap, and this is where the race is going to be won or lost. but it is at this moment the two Spaniards, 1 and 2. The American sitting third and just holding on at the back. It's the Japanese paddler. She's been there ever since this quartet broke away. Is she going to be able to hang on though? Because there's a bit of pressure being applied now.
Yeah, one last lap for the open women to go, but we are reaching the almost the 1 hour mark for the 50 plus men. So expect in the next 5 minutes possibly the first 50 plus men to complete the 10k long distance course. We might have our fourth world champion of the day in the long distance coming up in a few minutes. I definitely think if it's a straight 10k course, I definitely think the winner will win in under 105, and I expect Daniel Pattaya, if nothing bad happened to him in the last hour, to be at the front of the race, likely with Peter Weidert, who's more of a sprinter than a long distance racer, but I expect also some good things coming out of Barcelona, Spain, with Mark Forrester, who was on the podium last year.
So no sign yet of the chase pack, but they are well and truly behind. There's no danger at all to these front four. The only question that remains now is, of this quartet, which one of these paddlers is going to miss out on a medal? It's going to be heartbreak, absolute heartbreak for one of these paddlers who's done all the hard work. They've been there since the get-go, and they're now staring down the barrel, one of them, of going home empty-handed. Of course, there's nothing wrong, Matthew, with finishing top 4 in the world. Nothing wrong at all, but let me tell you, a medal I think looks much better on the wardrobe than a certificate, and that's not to take anything away from certificates. But
I guess that's the sister of Marta. Abandoning. Getting fourth place means that you don't get to go on the stage in front of huge crowd. Wow, that was a big crowd.
It was good last
for
night,
the medal
wasn't it?
ceremony. It was excellent, and a very impressive stage as well, with a huge screen behind the athletes on the podium. Ooh, is Rika Okuaki going to be able to stay with that?
I've got my doubts.
With that group, as Esperanza Barreras seems to be accelerating at the front of the race now. We still haven't reached the half of the course. We're actually far from it. It's probably still in the first kilometer and a half of the 5 kilometer course. But it is Esperanza Barreras.
I think we're going to have a group of 3
at the front.
In just a moment. I think we're going to be down to 3. The Japanese paddler is desperately trying to hang on, but she's having to work really, really hard because Espi Barreras is starting to put the pressure on now. She's decided that she doesn't want to be part of this 4. She'd rather be a group of 3. But now she tacks back on to the back of this quartet. But it looks like she's working a lot harder, Matthew, than the other 3 paddlers. So,
and I can see the cadence of Kim Barnes right now is accelerating a little bit. Is Kim Barnes going to try and overtake Duna Gordillo, or is she just struggling to stay in tune with Duna Gordillo in front of her? Rika Okuaki is also struggling a little bit to stay with that
rhythm.
With that rhythm. So. Definitely something going on right now, as they are clearly into the headwind.
So no change at the front though, and it is still Espi Barreras who is in front of this race. Duna Gordillo, her Spanish teammates, sitting in second. And those two have been in the top 2 position. In fact, there's been no change, has there, Matthew? But actually, that's wrong. The Spaniards have swapped around a couple of times. But in terms of 3rd and 4th, they've been there for the entire race since they've been a quartet. And now are we seeing, finally are we seeing 4 become 3? Because there's a little bit of a gap there, Matthew, opening up between 3rd and 4th. And again, she's having to work hard to get across, to get on Kimberly Barnes's tail. Is she going to get there this time, or is that it?
I wouldn't say it's over yet for Rika Okweke. I think she's just realized that she needs to do something about this distance being extended behind Kim Barnes' board. So she's just managed to push hard enough to be able to stick with the top 3 paddlers right there. But it is definitely an indication of her form right now, or at least of her mental state. Obviously, you get tired, and your brain might be playing tricks on you as well. So you don't want to lose the plot for sure. You miss a couple of strokes, and all of a sudden, everybody is really far ahead of you, and you're in a tough spot in a no man's land behind them. But yeah, once again, Rika Okweke.
That elastic band between the 3rd and 4th paddler is being stretched. It really has been stretched, and you would think it's only a matter of time before that elastic band snaps, and the 4th paddler will drop off. But having said that, Matthew, she'll probably go out and win now, and you and I will look very, very silly. She's going to, because here we are, all this lap we've been calling her that she's going to drop off here, but she's hanging in there. She is hanging in there, not wanting to throw this race away yet. She's worked so hard to be part of this quartet, and she's not going to want to give up without a fight. Now, we are getting very close, I think, to the end of the men's 50 plus, the 10K. As soon as we start seeing the athletes starting to turn towards the finish, we will cross down and bring you the end of the men's 50 plus. But they're a little bit off the finish line just yet, so we are keeping an eye on things. We've got our best people on the job.
An excellent comment from Jenny Kalmbach actually on the chat. We're saying that strategically Kim should make a move just to distance herself away from Rika Okweke, so creating that gap artificially in order to then have a big gap and make sure that she does have a top 3
I suspect
position.
though, Matthew, she wouldn't know, would she? She's not got eyes in the back of her head. She wouldn't know that the Japanese paddler is struggling a little bit, so she's assuming that she's just sitting on her tail as she has been. But I think now the move is being made, is it? I think the move maybe is being made now, Matthew, and I think maybe we're starting to see. Well, I've said it again, but now look, she's moved across.
There's definitely something going on there. There's clearly struggling with direction. You can see the angle of the blade of the paddle. Clearly, they're struggling against the wind. So it's also the wind creating a bit of chaos in those among those 3 paddlers. It's interesting also to see them paddling from time to time on the right hand side, so that would definitely push them on the left.
Okay, so we have we've just been given word that the 50 plus men have just gone around the final finish point. Here we go.
Peter
Weiders, back-to-back gold medals. When I say back-to-back, gold medalists yesterday, and sitting in second, Matthew?
Daniel Pares was not able to keep his first place. Peter Weidert on the light board, a German athlete with a German board, who is going to win a second gold medal in these 2023 ICF SUP World Championships after the sprint.
Yeah, sprint gold medalist yesterday. He looked pretty relaxed last night at the medal ceremony, and I asked him how he was feeling for the rest of the week. He said, we'll just see how it goes tomorrow, and look how it's going tomorrow.
It is a big blade. It is obviously a tall and very strong athlete. That is a huge blade. This is like archery canoe paddling for Peter Weidert. Excellent result once again for the giant from Germany, Peter Weidert, who is able, there's still 40 meters to go for the German champion to get ahead of Daniel Pares. It's a short, long distance course. 10K is pretty short. I know Daniel is capable of doing long distance races, but Peter Weidert is going to be very happy with that gold medal once again. Another one for Peter Weidert, the German, after his sprint title yesterday. Daniel Pares will settle for a silver medal.
That's I'm pretty certain that's Peter Weidart's first distance medal, gold medal.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, it is, because the last two
Daniel Paris.
were won by Daniel Paris, who is now crossing the line, or reaching the beach rather.
He looks tired. He can barely walk up the sand there. It's a tough course. It's a long race. Even though for some of these athletes, I'm sure Peter and Daniel would both be quite comfortable doing 15 Ks. But for Daniel, second place, it's a silver medal, but you never like losing your world title, Matthew. I assume you don't. I've never held one. No, you've never held one. Have you held a world title in anything besides talking?
In pole dancing.
In pole dancing, yes. Well.
Oh, another Spaniard to go on the podium, and that is Marc Forster from Barcelona, Spain, who is now sprinting for that bronze medal, claiming that bronze medal. Third place for Spain. So it is Germany, Spain and Spain on the 50 plus men's podium in the long distance. And Daniel Paris, I wanted to say a few words about Daniel Paris. He's probably the most active athlete, coach, entrepreneur in the SUP race world in Spain. He is the organizer of the World SUP Festival Costa Blanca, which has been hugely successful over the past 2 years. Unfortunately, because it's such a big enterprise to put together, the 2024 event of the World SUP Festival Costa Blanca is not going to happen. So it's going to Daniel Paris is going to save all that money and energy for a 2025 edition. But just a few days before the event, Daniel Paris was organizing a regional event called the Gran Carrera del Mediterráneo in Santa Pola, Alicante, Spain, where he resides, and where he actually coaches probably the biggest SUP race youth group, not just of Spain but in the world. We're talking about a club of more than 200 SUP members who are all SUP racers, stand-up paddle racers.
Well, fantastic effort, consistent paddler, a couple of world titles, silver today. Let's not take anything away though from Peter Weidart. He was a level above the rest of the field in the sprint competition, just so super impressive. And now today following up with a distance gold medal as well. And I think we're going to cross down now to hear from our world champion Peter Weidart. 2 gold medals in 2 days, 2-time world champion already in 2023. Let's have a listen to our gold medalist Peter Weidart.
Mine. Oh, it's okay. I'll get after. I'm not organised. All right, you ready? Good. Okay, Peter Weidart, you've done it again. You won yesterday in the sprints. You've had a very convincing lead today in the distance race. How was it out there for you?
Yes, it was absolutely amazing. I never expected such a result, because this choppy water is not my condition. We train on flat water in Germany, and so I'm very happy. And at the outside it was very choppy, side chops, and it was not easy.
How was it battling the wind? And there's a bunch of conditions. It looks flat from here, but the wind is pretty strong offshore.
Outside you have 40 centimeter waves, and you pedal 80% on the left side. It's not so easy, but all have the same conditions.
Well, you had a very convincing lead there. You know, we were trying to spot you on the drone. Our live stream cameras were cutting out a little bit, but we managed to find you, and you look like you're by yourself. So it's a fantastic lead. Are you going to do the tech race as well tomorrow?
Yes, I want to take part, but it's a very hard field. Many good competitors.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you got the 2 golds to the over 50s, so congratulations. Awesome job.
Thank you.
All right.
Dankeschön.
We do one more in German.
Yeah, but I mean, is there a man paddling better in the world at the moment than Peter Weidart? There's confirmation for us. Weidart first, Daniel Paris second, Marc Forster third, and then
great result by Vincent Guillaume, actually the coach whose name I announced earlier on. Fourth place.
I saw Larry Kane there. He had a top 10 finished 6th or 7th there. But good result there for the Olympic legend Larry Kane. Now let's get a look of how our women are going. I think we still have. They've just come around the top buoy. There they are, coming up now to the top buoy.
Yeah, they're just reaching the top buoy, the green buoy.
And there's still a
In the
group
middle of
of
your
four.
screen.
So our Japanese paddler is refusing to go away. She's just hanging in there at the back of the field. A couple of times we thought they were going to shake her off, but Taylor Swift style, but she has hung on. She's there still, and she's ready to race for home with the top 3 women paddlers in the world who are in front of her. It's going to be a very good race for gold, silver and bronze. It has been the Spaniards in front though, and we are now about to see them, I think, go around the green buoy at the top. It's Espi Barreras, I think, going around first, Gordilla second. As they go around now, Kimberly Barnes in third place. And what's the gap? No, there's no gap there. They're all
together.
The top 4.
So, and four different brands actually: Starboard, NSP, Flying Fish, which is the Florida brand, and SIC Maui. Ooh, a bit of a gap now behind Kim Barnes.
We keep
It's
saying
happening
it
again.
We keep saying it, but maybe it's just the angle. I'm refusing to call it again. I'm not going to say it again until I'm absolutely convinced that there's a gap opening up. I think she might have just taken a different line, has she from Japan?
Well, let's not forget that Rika Okwaki finished 11th last year in 2022. So definitely, if she manages to stay at the front, a huge improvement from the 2022 results.
Of course, last year it was Barreras ahead of Gordillo. We haven't seen Melanie
No, so
Lafayette.
Melanie Lafayette, as I was saying, I think she pulled out. She was on the start list, but I think she's out. We have another French athlete though. It is Yona Rive, and she's in the top 10, or she was in the top 10. I don't know if she did manage to stay with Seychelles and Fiona Wild. For a while they were in a group of 3 paddlers chasing that front pack of 4. We don't have any visuals yet, but we'll see towards the end of the race, which is fast approaching now. We are 1 hour and 28 minutes into the competition. So in about 15 minutes now, we will have our new Open Women Long Distance champion for 2023.
So Matthew, you've watched a lot of stand-up paddling. Who, if you look at that group of 4 at the moment, who's managed to maintain their technique, their stroke? I mean, can you read into this who's looking tired? Who's looking like they're still racing within themselves?
Well, I think Duna Gordillo has got a good shot, being placed in second right now, and for possible explosive sprint finish. She's the youngest of them all. Kim Barnes, though, has proven this week that she's also a faster sprinter. However, that is not her main discipline. She's really focusing on long distance. So unless Espe manages to break away now in the next 5 minutes, I would probably go for Duna in a sprint finish, but that is being a little bit ignorant as to what Kim Barnes can actually achieve.
Let's not discount Rika, because she is hanging in there. She's hanging in there, and she. We've got the doof doof music starting up in the background, so that must mean we're getting close to something. I don't know what it is, but it's very loud. So apologies
Music
at home if it's interfering with our commentary at all. Hopefully you can't hear that at home. It's very loud here, though, I've got to say. Now, is that a group of 3 now? It looks to me like Espy's putting a bit of a question mark now. She's asking the question of the rest of the field. She's asking, are you ready for a sprint? Are you ready for a race for the gold? Because I am about to set this race alight.
Well, that group of 3 now is definitely ahead of Rika Okaki. There is the a bit of a gap there for sure. I would just want to slightly correct what I was saying. Let's not rule out Espe Barreras, who is also a good sprinter and a strong finisher. So she also has the experience with Dunagoryo. Obviously, at last year at a very important race, she did lose to Dunagoryo, but there were waves involved in that race. So if Espe is not trying harder to really place high cadence attacks on her challengers, it's also that she might think that she is capable of holding on to that with just a steady acceleration towards the end, keep that lead over Dunagoryo and Kim Barnes.
So it may well not have been that there was a big gap there between the front three and Rika, because I think she was just taking a different line. Very hard to tell from this angle if there is a gap between third and fourth. Maybe I wonder if we can get the drone up and send it out there to our lead four. There we go. Now can we bring the drone down, folks, to the yep, look at that gap.
There is a gap now, indeed.
Yep, there is a gap indeed between the top three and Rika Okaka from Japan, just dropping off a little bit at the back. So
on the GPS on the left-hand side of your screen on the GPS chart, one name is missing, and that is Rika Okwaku, who is in fourth between a group of three now, led by Espe Barreras, and a group of potentially three girls as well. That's Anna Cherki. Was it Seychelles or Fiona? Seychelles.
Fiona's dropped right back.
And then Susak Molinero, who was in sixth position.
So four has suddenly become three. Rika has. We were predicting this for some time, that the elastic band would break, and it's broken now, well and truly, and she has dropped off the front three. So yeah, there's a big gap between the front three and the rest of the field. But we are now down to a race in three for the World Champion title of 2023. Matthew, what have you spotted?
Yeah, Ross, I think I've spotted a white dot at the top of your screen. I think that's Anna Cherki, who is 50 meters in front of Seychelles and Susak Molinero. So that can tell you how much of a gap there is between Rika Okwaku and Anna Cherki. Something's going on at the front. Is it still three, or are they just two?
There's three. There's still three there. Three. Yeah, that's Rika in the background. You can see her in the background. So Kim Barnes is still sitting in third. It's still SB in front, Gordilla second, and Kim Barnes holding on in third position. Is she starting to drop back a little bit though? A little bit hard to tell from this angle, but it looks like the two Spaniards are now asking the question. They've decided to make their move, and look at SB. She's really starting to dig deep here. The experience, she's such an experienced paddler. She's done these sort of races so many times, and she'll know exactly when to apply the ultimate pressure, and it's going to come any minute now.
So we are able of identifying everyone here on the field. I think we're missing a few paddlers, or a couple of paddlers from the top 10 that we announced earlier. Espe Barreras in first, Dunagoryo in second, Kim Barnes in third, Rika Okwaku in fourth. We have Anna Cherki on an NSP board in 5, Seychelles in 6, and behind them, that's a white hat, and I think that is maybe Natsumi Baba, with potentially Yona Rive, or is it Susak Molinero? I'm not entirely sure.
So the top three are well and truly out now. It's a race in three for the gold medal. All three should win a medal of some colour, but they all want to leave for the gold medal. So Espe Barreras, there we are, the 13.6k mark. So we have 1.4 kilometres to go, and it's going to be a really big race for the gold medal here. Who's managed to leave some petrol in the tank for the closing stages of this race? Kim Barnes has done the least amount of work of the three, just happy to sit in the slipstream for the entire race. And I tell you what, if I was me and I was leading for the entire race, and then somebody who'd been sitting behind me for 15 kilometres or 14.9 kilometres suddenly moved out and overtook me, I'd be pretty bloody annoyed. Luckily, I don't get annoyed easily though. And luckily, you'll never find me at the front of a race after 15 kilometres.
Well, no matter what the color of the medal, it has been a very wise decision on Kim Barnes' part to pull out of the sprint competition, to be able to retrieve her board, which was stuck in Taiwan for a few days. It was definitely sent well in advance of this event, but it only got to Bangkok yesterday, so she was only able to retrieve that yesterday. If she would have taken part throughout the entire sprint competition, she would have got that board super late last night. She wouldn't have been able to rest for this very important day. So that decision seems to have paid off, at least to be able to score a podium medal today. She could do more than bronze where she is currently sitting. That's the big question mark I have, is how much of a sprinter is Kim Barnes. We've got definitely two big champions. The most experienced of all three is certainly Esperanza Barreras, at least on the international scene. Kim Barnes has been paddling for years and years. I can find some articles related to Kim Barnes on Google dating back from at least 2015, but we haven't seen much of her outside of the USA.
So we've got about a kilometre to go now, Matthew, and this is now down to the moment when your gut is hurting, your arms are hurting, your legs are hurting, your head is hurting, you're thirsty, you're maybe getting a little bit bleary-eyed because you've been out there squinting in the sunshine for the best part of, well, look at the time now, an hour and a half now, over an hour and a half. 1 kilometre to go. We've just hit the 14 kilometre mark, so we have 1 kilometre to go, and we will be able to crown our new world champion. It is.
We are going to have a joint finish between the plus 40 men's and
don't tell me.
And the open women.
Please don't tell me they're going to finish at the same time.
These guys look fast, and they are together for sure. Top 3 guys. At the top of your
seriously,
screen.
we're going to have a.
We could have a joint finish.
Can you tell Matthew who that is at the front of the 40-plus men?
Can't. We need a lower John. That's that could be Tomas Lelovic, the winner of yesterday's sprints. Indeed, at the front is a tall guy on a sort of a board. Behind him, I'm not entirely sure. Pierre-Alain Dubois. That's Pierre-Alain Dubois in third. Yes, we're going to have our joint finish between the plus 40 in third right now on the SIC Maui board on the right-hand side of your screen. That is the winner of last year's long-distance race. It could be Olivier Darrieux-Merlot in second. I'm not entirely sure of that. He's usually on a dark grey and red board. That's the NSP board, actually. It could be all wrong.
Anyway, let's go back and focus on the women, because
women though.
We can see, we can bring you both finishes at the same time, although I think the men are going to get there first. They've come on a different line down this final leg, and they've moved into the front position. It's still Espi Barreras leading the women's race. Donna Gordilla sitting second. Kimberly Barnes just biding her time, sitting there. And look at Espi, though. I think she's putting a little bit of distance here, Matthew, between herself and Donna Gordilla. She's making a bit of a move. There seems to be just a slight gap opening up between Barreras and Gordilla, and Kimberly Barnes looks to me like she's really struggling to hold on here. I don't think Kimberly Barnes has got much more to give, but looks like the women are going past the men now. Get out of our way, they're saying.
Actually, on the left-hand side, it's not Thomas Lelovic, but Joep van Bakkel. So I don't know if these are the leading men for the plus 40 category, but that is definitely Joep van Bakkel from the Netherlands on that sort of a board. But we are going to focus on the women, of course, with Esperanza Barreras still in the lead and still pushing hard.
I'd like to, if I was a gambling man, I'd like to have my money on Espi at the moment. I think she's looking strong. She's looking in control. I think at the moment the other two girls, Gordilla and Barnes, are just trying to hang on at the moment. Neither of them have made a move yet. Have they got anything left to give? Because Espi Barreras has been out in front for most of this race. If anything, Kimberly Barnes is dropping off a little bit maybe at the back. I think she's struggling to hold on there to the back of Donna Gordilla, but maybe she's just saving herself up for a big run to the finish. But a bit of a clash here, the men and the women coming together here. Do you think this is the lead pack for the 40 plus?
I'm looking at the bib number. The only one identified is at an 8, 3-8. I'm just trying to check if that's Pierre-Alain Dubois.
Espy Barreras is making a move. She's making a move. Here she goes. She's moved out. She's taking advantage of the men to get it a little bit of a gap between herself. And look at this gap opening up. Look at the performance from Espy Barreras, and they cannot go with her. They cannot keep up with her. Donna Gordilla has had enough. She can't go with her. Kimberly Barnes has got nothing more as well. Espy Barreras is going to turn in a moment and sprint for the finish, and she has made a very decisive move and look at that. She's put a big gap already between herself and the second place paddler. She's going to go around this boy in a moment, and she's going to head for home. What a race, what a moment for her. She took advantage, Matthew, of the men who were just getting in a little bit of congestion in the way there. She made her move, and before they could even blink, she was clearly in front. There she goes now. She's moved around. Oh, please don't fall in. Please don't knock her off that board. Gordilla's trying to catch her. Gordilla is now trying to sprint. Has she left it too late though? Barreras turns first. Gordilla is trying to get back to her. It's the two Spaniards. Kim Barnes is going on a different line. I don't know that she can catch her. But Espy Barreras, she's pinning her ears back. She's going for the finish line. She's going to try and claim her world title and to defend the crown that she won. Let's go back and focus on our leaders, please. Can we go back and have a look at the front two paddlers?
Drone pilot, please send us to the women, because we want to see what is happening between Esperanza Barreras, between Duna Gordillo and Kim Barnes. Come on, turn that drone around. We want to see that women's finish. We also have, I think, the finish of the plus 40 men with Hugh Van Backel leading. I haven't identified who was second, the plus 40 men. That's Hugh Van Backel right there in front of your screen, but we are most interested in what's happening just behind him with Esperanza Barreras, who is going to clinch a second long distance
Barnes
world
has moved
title.
into second. Barnes has moved into second. She's made her move on Gordilla, but it's Espy Barreras. She made that decisive move, and she's going to come down here and defend her world title. What a race.
She got a smile on her face. Esperanza Barreras, yes, she does. This is her claiming already another world title under the ICF SUP World Championship. Esperanza Barreras
What
from
a race.
Spain, gold medal.
World champion. What a move. What a perfect race for this lady from Spain. Her timing was perfect. Just made that decisive move as they headed towards the boy. Kimberly Barnes crosses in second position, and Donna Gordilla, well, when Barreras asked the question, Gordilla had no answer, and she will settle for third. But what a performance there by Espy Barreras. She has defended her title, a perfectly judged race. She knew what she was doing. She knew when to make her move. And look, obviously just hoping that no one else had anything to give, and they didn't, and she was gone. Wow. And I think, can we get confirmation with the 40 plus men?
Well, I did have I'm pretty sure first it was Hugh Van Backel, the new Sonova rider. In third, we had Tommy Boudet. I haven't identified yet who's in second. This is Pierre-Alain Dubois right in the middle of our screen. And that is now Esperanza Barreras hugging Oscar Ruiz, coach and partner in crime. And Sven Rasmussen, the starboard CEO, giving a hug to his protege, Espy Barreras, who has just picked another gold medal. Fantastic win, fantastic push. I'm glad I said the last thing I said about Espy, that don't rule her out for a strong finish. She might have the feeling that she can contend Duna Gordillo and Kim Barnes in the last 200 meters.
I mean, when you look at it, Matthew, that was an incredibly gutsy race that she paddled. She wasn't frightened to take on the lead. She wasn't frightened to lead for most of that race. Backing herself, backing her judgment, backing her strength and her ability knowing that if the question was going to be asked at the end of the race, that she was going to be able to provide all the answers, and just making that decisive move. I mean, maybe things fell in place for her with the three men that came together and maybe just got in their way a little bit, and that's when she decided to make her move, and maybe catching the other girls by surprise. And when they looked up and saw that she had made her move for that final buoy and made that sprint for the finish, they had nothing. They had nothing to give. And Kimberly Barnes, really good race from Kimberly, set there in the slipstream in third position and managed to overtake Donna Gordilla in the run for the finish. But by that stage, Espi Barreras was already heading for the sand. A very impressive win for a very impressive athlete, and she has defended her world title. And very, very soon we're going to hear from our women's winner, Espi Barreras, who I'm sure will be very, very happy with her win. Let's cross down now to the sand to our big man Trevor, who's sitting down there ready to chat to our gold medalist and world champion.
Espi Barreras, you've just won the distance race in the open women's division. How do you feel right now?
Well, I still don't believe. I try to make a race in a different way than I used to do normally. So I try to think more and maybe paddle less. And wow, finally I just try to trust on all the work that I've been to come here. So that was the result. I'm super happy, but I have to say congrats to all the girls because they are really, really strong on these conditions. They are super hard.
It looked like for a long time there's a big train with you all bunched up together. How was the team camaraderie working through that through the race?
We were to make a small pack at the beginning. I was talking with the second, with Duna, to try to make the pack smaller, and when we were full, we just tried to go saving energy in between both Duna and me. And then at the end I tried to push like 2Ks before arriving. I say let's go with everything and let's see what happened. And I really feel good and super happy with the result.
It was a really exciting finish. We had everyone screaming over here at the finish line. You pulled it away really well there, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And so then tech race for you tomorrow?
Sorry, say again?
Are you doing technical race tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. My goal is to be as more regular as I can in all disciplines, so tomorrow I'll be in the start line again.
Excellent. Well, good luck for tomorrow and congratulations for today.
Thank you very much.
Really well done.
Thank you.
Wow, huge congratulations to Espi Barreras, the queen of the long distance here in Pattaya, Thailand. A second world title for Espi, who was able to stay strong all the way to the finish line, leading for most of the race over Duna Gordillo. Kim Barnes, what an impressive finish also by Kim Barnes, a 47-year-old, the mom of two kids, busy with work, with a full-time job obviously, and still able to score a silver medal on her first ICF participation here in Thailand.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race and a thoroughly deserving winner. I will say, and you know, you can't. I mean, obviously conditions affect times, etc. And yes, we are disappointed as well that we couldn't focus on the 40-plus men that finished at around the same time. It was just.
We do know the winner.
Well, we do know the winner, but it is. A couple of people are saying online it would have been nice to be able to focus and give them their moment. Of course, it would have been. If we sat down before the race started and say, are they going to finish at exactly the same time? Well, you know, maybe there's a chance that could have happened, but that's fate. That's the way it goes, and I'm sure nobody is going to begrudge us focusing on the women, and because they are the elite paddlers and they have done an outstanding job. And Espi Barreras and Donna Gordilla and Kimberly Barnes there, we needed to focus on their performance. But yes, of course, in an ideal world we would have preferred to been able to bring you the excitement of the men's race as well.
Can I ask the community to potentially help us in I'm sure that the official results are going to come soon, but I was able to identify in the plus 40 men's category the winner, Joep van Bakkel. I'm pretty sure it was in third Tommy Boudet, but there was a gentleman wearing a white hat on the NSP board in second, and I would like the community to help me identify who it was. So make sure, if you know who it is,
In the
add
meantime-
it
yep,
as a comment on YouTube.
In the meantime, I think we're ready to cross down to our men's 40-plus world champion. Let's have a listen.
All right, Joop, you've just taken out the gold medal for the over 40s. You had quite a struggle at the end there with your camel pack. I saw it was a mad rush up the beach. You guys were neck and neck. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, we had a really good battle with the three of us, the great guy from Greece and with Tommy from Canada. And then in the end, it was for the sprint finish. But the problem was I had my camelback around me and the leash attached to it. So I thought I'd just open the camelback and I run, but I forgot I had the thing around my neck to keep the drinking tube there. So I was, and then finally just close finish. So it was fantastic that I made it. So didn't expect that, but even more.
So you probably didn't expect to get strangled on the finish line either. So this is well, congratulations. This is really cool. So this is your first ICF gold medal, right?
Yeah, it's my second ICF SUP event. Like, I was in China, but my first medal. So because I'm like in the 40s now, so it's not really a good thing, but it brings good things as well. So that's nice. And I just found my new family. Like, I was always with the Fnatic team. Fnatic stopped with the hardboard, so now I found a new family, the Sonova team, and it's they really are. It's really nice to be with them now, and they really helped me to achieve this goal.
Fantastic. Did you have any tactics going into the race? Anything you thought about?
It's really warm, so don't go too hard on the first 1 or 2 laps. So I had a sick terrain like leading for the first full lap. And that was really comfortable. Like, the sick guys were like taking leads one by one. I could just relax there. And then after the second lap, I started to make more of a marathon competition out of it, because I come from marathon pedaling is my background. So and I could like work the boys like I wanted to, and then in the end it was just the 2 of us left. So I gave everything in the last, let's say, 3 kilometers. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Despite being strangled at the finish line, the other 2 competitors and the heat, you've won the gold. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Well done, Joop, and congratulations on avoiding strangling yourself too. That would be a rookie error, wouldn't it, forgetting to disconnect everything you've got tied to the board. But there we have confirmation of the women. Esperanza Barreras, the gold medalist. Kimberly Barnes, silver. Donna Gordilla, the third. Rika Okwaka, who was part of that lead pack for so long, and just not able to go at the end there, finishing in 4th. Seychelles, after the gold medal yesterday, takes 5th.
Over Anna Cherky from Switzerland.
So
and I have identified our second, our silver medal in the plus 40, and that is Georgios Frakos.
Who did very well in the sprint too.
Greece, yes, indeed. And it was indeed Tommy Boudet in 3rd, but Tim Oliver from Canada was 4th. Pierre-Alain Dubois from France, who was last year's winner, was the defending champion, finished 6th behind David Anui, another Frenchman from New Caledonia.
I'm going to leave you to wrap up the finish of these events. I'm going to go down and grab a couple of interviews. That's my pen, by the way. Don't you steal that? Yes, thank you very much. But we'll be back. We've got more racing this afternoon, of course, which we're looking forward to bringing you. It's
at 2 p.m., so in about an hour, slightly less than an hour, we'll be covering the junior races.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Women, we're going to start with the men, and I think 10 minutes after the junior men, we will launch the junior women for the last, webcast race of the day.
ID is now open.
Are we covering the inflatable? We might be covering the inflatable. More on that later on, but let's have a look at our top 10 in the plus 40 men, because I have the list in front of me. It might come up on your screen at some point. Joop van Bacco from the Netherlands, as we've just interviewed him, won the gold medal in the plus 40 men's category in the long distance. Georgios Frakos from Greece in 2nd. Tommy Boudet from Canada was 3rd. Tim Oliver was 4th, also from Canada. David Anui from New Caledonia, France, was 5th. Pierre-Alain Dubois, the returning defending champion, finished 6th. Ryohei Yoshida was 7th. He was on the podium of the sprints yesterday in 3rd place. Victor Fedul finished 8th from Romania. Martin Teichmann finished in 9th position, and Artem Avramenko finished in 10th place. I actually have 3 more results. Branislav Schramek from the Czech Republic finished 11th. Christian Tauher